Thank you for being here. All right, let's get into it. Mentorship. When I think about mentorship, I think about something that is adding flavor, color to something that already exists. A good picture is the cake. You have the cake, but then what you have on it is the icing. So for me, mentorship is like the icing on the cake, because other things form the bulk of life, right? Hard work, prayer, and things like that. For example, my dad would say, work hard, read book, solve mathematics. My mom on the other side would say, go to church, serve God, and do all those things. But then we are saying that in order to bring more flavor, more impact, there's a little bit something you can add to that. And mentorship seems to be one of those. And that's why we're discussing mentorship today, also from your book, Passing the Torch Mentorship. All right. So let's get into it. For you, what does passing the torch means to you?
Thank you, Tulu, for the invitation to join you and the esteemed guests globally through this virtual platform. I think for me, normally the general take is that passing the torch is something that is optional. But for me, I think passing the torch is part of our DNA, in a sense that it's been given different names like business coaching, coaching, mentorship, or literally for me, it's all about being taught in terms of being taught who you are as a person and molded into who you are as a person. Let me just share for you, like my take on the passing the torch mentorship is, when we are born, our parents are the first people who are there to guide us. Maybe other people, they might not have parents, they might have like guardians, but whoever is there from your baby stage to your teen stage to your adulthood stage to old age until the sunset. So those are the people who are there passing their knowledge, their skills, their cultures, their way of life, molding you into the person that you are today as a person. So for me, this is just part of my DNA. And we've had different people in our lives, as I've shared, from childhood all the way to, from cradle to the grave. Those are the people who've been there passing their nuggets of wisdom and leaving something to say, this is who we are, this is who you are as a person, born into this space to make a difference. What are you doing with this knowledge to pass it on to the next person? So this is how I've always seen it, as part of my DNA, not something outside me, but something as part of my journey.
Wow, exciting. Thank you for sharing that. Passing the torch means people that have impacted our lives along the way. And I've really learned a little bit about your story. I think in one of your speeches, you said that the people that have impacted you is your dad and a businessman and also one of your teachers, right?
Yes.
Do you want to share a little bit about that?
Yes. I would like to share more. Like my mother, yes, has been like the one who mentored me in my spiritual journey. But because this is in the business space, I want to share more about my dad. I grew up in my native country, South Africa, and I grew up in a business family. My dad was a businessman. She had a business, a general store. He's also a farmer as well. So I grew up in that space. So he also taught me. So being in like in a developing countries, there are many challenges that you always are facing, and some of those is people from low income communities, people who don't really poverty is a reality in one of these communities that we come from. So with being that kind of a privileged person who has food on the table, who get quality education, to healthcare access, to a good lifestyle. So he also entrenched in us so that we don't want to be kind of people who are living in this community where poverty is a reality and there's this glaring inequalities, and be removed from that. So we raised in effect in this, he always entrenched in us, especially me as a firstborn child, to say, to whom much is given, much is required. It means that being born into a certain family wherein you have more privileges, it is a privilege that you must embrace it, and also with the mindfulness that not many people are having that privilege. So do your part to give to those who are less fortunate. So it has that ripple effect of being kind, of being empathy, of being compassionate, and being aware of your environment. So, and also in the business science, he told me that you need to understand business because money runs the world. You need to understand how money works, how business works. So embrace that business mindset and financial acumen. No people who are making success in their lives. It's 1% of the global wealth. It goes to people who have really invested a lot in their financial journey. So him has inspired me in that space, and that led me to studying also not only my undergraduate in politics, international politics, but also to pursue a postgraduate, an MBA in business administration, because for you to succeed in any field, you need to be a specialist in that field. So part of that, there's no substitute for formal education. And you can also then build your knowledge and make that formal education into something great, into what you want to become in the future. So that's how
Wow.
it inspired me. And he also said, just briefly told you, he said, there is no limit to what I can be, to what I can become, to where I can be. My dad was never traveled internationally, never got a master's in business administration, but he invested in me so that I can believe in myself. Said, I'm giving you what I have, my skills, but it's up to you to define the life that you have. Find your vision, find your purpose, go into the world and serve the world with your gift. And here I am now, based in the United States, and really trying to find my space, and also not only in the business space, but in the philanthropy, giving it back, making a difference, being mindful of those other people as well who have paid it forward for us. They never lived their life, but they were hoping that when we live that life, we'll always lift other people along our journey as well.
Wow. Lifting people along our journey. You said something now that is very powerful. To whom much is given, much is required. A version of this that my dad would always say was, to whom much is given, much is expected.
Mm.
And usually, I can remember when I was much younger, when this statement comes, it's usually it's time for another spanking with words or with actual physical touch. But but
Mm.
in the light of mentoring, I think I kind of understand. I have a different understanding of what that means now. Is that you have been given something, and from what you've been given, you can always share your knowledge. You have something to give others. In your book, mentorship is the art of seeing potential in others
Mhm.
that they cannot see in themselves.
Yes.
By Oprah Winfrey, a mentor is someone who allows you to see the hope in you. That means that the people that feel hopeless,
Mhm.
maybe they can engage with somebody who can see something in them that they are not seeing. And that will lead me to this question. It goes back to a mentor, somebody seeing themselves as a mentor and willing to help another person.
Yes.
So, based on that, what would you say the qualities of a great mentor are?
Okay. The qualities of a great mentor, I just want to share something to mentorship is not about status, and hence leadership is also not about this status. It's about impact. You know, it is about you as a leader, like you're saying, the other qualities. It's about somebody who sees that I want to create something extraordinary with my life. There is a purpose why I exist. So I want to see who I am. And as part of my journey, I want to see myself making a difference in the world. So the qualities of of a mentor is somebody who wants to make an impact in the world. And no man is an island, Tolu. So that being said, that we can never succeed or make any difference in the world unless we do it in a part of the community, as a collective, in collaboration, in relationships and networks and these platforms, because I hope that this mentorship and this conversation, it really helps to spark that, ignite that light in somebody else. Say, actually, I have so much knowledge. I wanna expand my wisdom. You pass on your wisdom, your experience. You encourage other people to take risks. You inspire other people to persist, to have that spirit of resilience, of courage, of confidence. And making them feel that your life matters. Find yourself. You are born to do something. So mentorship is about that. And the quality of that leader is somebody who sees themselves making a difference in the life of other people, somebody who invests their time, their resources, their wisdom and experience, encouraging the next person, bringing the best in them, not what I want them to be, but the best in that person, because we are all born with something extraordinary. but you need somebody to hold you by the hand, to believe in you, to make that extraordinary leap of faith into becoming the best version of yourself. So that kind of wisdom, that kind of patience, somebody who can have those conversations with you and guide you with that, teaching you how to navigate your own life course. So it is a journey. It's that exchange of each other's stories, successes, and also telling that it's not going to be easy. There'll be moments where your vision will be tested, your purpose will be tested. You'll even doubt yourself as well. If what am I here? Why do I exist? And those are the people who will be there to give you that spirit of resilience. Say, arise from that state. Nothing is temporal, and nothing is permanent. Everything you're going through is part of your journey to refining you to becoming the best version of yourself. So that's what true leadership can be. Find something that is raw, talent that is raw, refine it with your skill, with the tools, with your time, and you ignite that light in other people to becoming the best version of themselves.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. There's something you mentioned now that's very interesting. You also mentioned in your book, Passing the Torch Mentorship. You talked about the fact that a lot of mentors trying to clone themselves. And you also said just now, making the person the best version of themselves. And so it has to be a little bit pushing for more understanding on the side of the mentor as to what it means to not want to create another person that look exactly like them, but trying to focus on the side of the leader. Is there any story around it that made you communicate that way? Do you have any personal story? Do you have any experience that you had with a mentor or with a mentee that was in that kind of line?
Yes. I have a story about my English teacher. I feel like the best mentors are the ones like, a shepherd. The shepherd has the flocks. The shepherd will lead from behind, and the flocks, they go and graze and find nourishment. So for me, I had my best mentor in terms of now studying this journey until writing this book. It was my English teacher from primary school. Told you every child needs guidance beyond the classroom. So this was the teacher that saw potential because I loved English and I loved how she was just passionate about English, how she was passionate about reading. She shared lots of books, and how her journey as well from being an orphan, she went to college because she was doing piece jobs, but she shared her story beyond the classroom. And that teacher was offering in the classroom practical insights in terms of molding us in the realm of education, becoming the best leader that I am today to pass on to other people. But she was not only my teacher, she became my mentor because she invested time in terms of my love for English, teaching me how to build my self-confidence, my self-awareness, how to master my skills such of public speaking, and how to also, and she used to tell me that there is no substitute for education. I know people sometimes, the young generation, they think they can somehow bridge that gap. You need a foundation because education, it gives you a solid foundation to stand on. She said, as much as we want to succeed, education is your key to success, and knowledge is power for you to succeed. So my English teacher, she really guided me, and I want to say she became not only my English teacher when I graduated from high school. She also was with me to college because my first qualification was in college. I went to study as a teacher for maths and English. So she was there every step of the way, and she used to spend time with me in the dormitory. Sometimes weekends, sleep with me, sharing one small bed. She molded me. She said, Cindy, you have so much talent in you. And she built me in terms of self-confidence that never allow anyone to put you down. Be confident, be strong, be courageous. Even when you're facing challenges in your life, Jane, know that you are strong. You can handle it. Believe in yourself. That was something that changed my life. And that's what I said. It was that kind of a single conversation that I had with him the first time I went to him. Said, "Ma'am, I want to learn more English, and I really love how you share your story and how you teach." And that conversation, it was me finding the right mentor, and that mentor changed my life. She never wanted me to be her a mini version of herself, but she saw talent in me, and she saw herself as a teacher guiding me. And it just shows the responsibilities that many educators, they just need to look into it. When we're interested with that flock, many flock that are there, You have a duty to protect them, but to guide them as well along the journey. Prepare them with the skills that life is not easy. Life, I compare life as the 4 seasons of life: summer, winter, spring, and autumn. So there'll be times where the winter will be snowy and icy. There'll be times there'll be rains and floods. But you wear the right cover. If it's raining, you wear your raincoat. If it's snowy, you wear your winter coat. So these are the people who are helping you. So those who the shepherd has seen it all, has lived it all. So it's like, I want you to navigate life much better. Find your voice, find your talent, find your calling, but with the right support, knowing that you are not alone. I am there with you every step of the journey. So that is what I meant, that is being a mentor is not to create other people to be the version of yourself, but you allow them to be the best version of themselves, even when they're having everything figured out. Guide them from behind, give them the skills to take the leap of faith, and constantly just help them how to navigate the challenges there.
Wow, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. There's something that you also said now that it feels very important.
Absolutely.
Finding the right support and finding the right mentor. That's talking about the match between the mentee and the mentor. It seems that in the case of your English teacher, that was a right match, and that's why you're still talking about that today.
Yes.
So, what advice would you give around somebody trying to look for a mentor? How would they know that they are picking the right mentor for them?
I think for me, it's very important as individuals, know what you want in your life, because no one else can tell you what you want. They can only guide you in that direction. Have a plan for your life. Have a 1-year plan, have a 5-year plan, have a 20-year plan. You need to see yourself and have a 50-year plan. What is your vision? Where do you see yourself going? And what legacy you want to leave behind? How do you want people to remember you? How do you want the impact that you want to see in the world? So as a mentee now, I'm putting myself in the place of a mentee. So as a mentee, I need to have that conversation with myself. And then I have to devise a plan, because we are going to have different mentors who are going to meet different facets in the spiritual place, in the professional place, in the social place. It depends. So we have mentors for different needs in our life. So we need to know which one mentor do you want. Like currently, I have a mentor as well from school who are guiding me in the business space, because I have already prepared myself. I come from a family that has a business. I've already started my business, my MBA. Now I'll go into the business space. No, I need to find a mentor saying, I want to make a success in my business, in my consulting business. Find people who are already in that space, who are succeeding, to show you the ropes. This is how we do it. This is how I want to succeed. Set yourself goals. And then when you have that mentor, we have a structured program. Out of this mentorship, I want to reach 4 goals. This is my goal 1, goal 2, goal 3, goal 4. So when you engage with your mentor, you already have a plan. And then the mentor now shares with you. And some of them, like this mentorship that I have a core mentor, because the mentor say, okay, Cindy, in terms of your 4 goals, my strength is in the 2 goals, but I'm bringing in a core mentor to help you on the other 2 strengths. So it's that kind of you have to be authentic about yourself. You have to really be willing to commit as well, because it takes time. Think about having somebody who has their own time as well. So for them to invest in you, you need to be clear about what you want. So have a plan, have set goals, and then identify what you want, or what is the outcome of this mentorship. So your engagement with a mentor, you have the end goal in mind. So in that, it makes to be productive. And that helps also to when you have the plan, because along the journey, you might find that no, I don't think this mentorship is aligned towards what I want. It's a misfit. Then you are also able to terminate that mentorship in time and also continue as well, because there's a different of cultural dynamics that come into place, gender. There's a lot of inherent biases that are there, and people are sharing their context. Sometimes the context, it might be a different one. But for me, I wanted a global context, navigating the cultural and the business dynamics in the global context. So I needed to find mentors who have made it not only in the city space, but who have a broad knowledge of understanding. So take your time, but have a plan, because no one else, you need to have a vessel that other people can fit in. But if there's nothing there, there's no framework, then it's like going nowhere slowly.
Wow, interesting. Interesting. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
You just mentioned something now, culture. Culture is one of the things you emphasize in your book. You also said about DEI, which is like a big topic now. People are talking about there's a lot of emotions around that, as you can imagine. My question around that is, How important is culture when it comes to picking the mentor?
Mm-hmm.
What would your advice be, considering the fact that culture differs as you move from one country? Even me and you, I'm from Nigeria, you're from South Africa. Even though we're both
Yes.
from Africa, there are differences, even the way we talk, the kind of things that we were exposed to when we're growing up. So what advice would you give around culture when it comes to mentor mentee match?
Yes. I think the beauty of it, for me, how I see it, Tolu, there's one humankind, but we are a rainbow nation, meaning that we just got to be global citizens who are spread in all parts of the world. So we bring to us. I am an African because, and also because I was born in Africa. Somebody else born in Europe, somebody else is born in Asia, all parts of the world. But it does not change the fact that we are one. So we are one human race. So the beauty of it about the culture is that we bring every day, even within the African context, we have different tribes, clans, ethnicity, and way of being brought up. So the culture, it means it's the value system. For me, I see it as a value system. And one thing that I learned to navigate even in a global space is that the value system in the African context is Ubuntu. It means I am human and I see you as a fellow human being, and our unity is in our strength. So culture to me, it means, okay, I see you, Tulu, you come from a different path. Let me learn from you what I don't know, what I have not been exposed to. So when you have that kind of a mindset, so your difference because of your culture, your demographic, you bring a beautiful spice. It's like it's a food, but you are spicing it up. You're spicing it with different kinds of spices. So culture is dead, and if you see the world through that kind of a lens, we will embrace each other without any bias. I'm like, oh, okay, today I get to cook, but with a different spice from India, different spice from Asia, different spice from the US, different spice from Japan. You know that kind of experience. So you always get to express different cuisines, food cuisines. So our cultures are a way of enriching our knowledge, our experiences, our value systems, our leadership. Because we are global citizens, all of us, and that means you get every day to navigate how do I respect your way of seeing things, how do I embrace your way of seeing things, how do we collaborate in those space, but in the professional space as well. What can we trade off our cultures that may seem to clash for this one goal that we have in mind? So that's how I've always navigated. Say, whenever you go to any country, whenever you interact with any people, take time to understand, study them, study their language, their food, their way of living, how they interact, so you can have a better understanding. And don't judge. Keep an open mind, because when you keep an open mind, I call myself a lifelong learner because I always embrace that this open-mindedness. I'm here to learn. You learn your way of doing things. You learn of, and the accent is my beauty. I have an accent. Everybody has an accent, so accent is not attached to a single person or nationality. We all have our accent, and that's the beauty. Oh, this accent is different, so it means you come from this part of the world. Let me know more about that. But when we embrace ourselves as equals because of our cultures, our values, and basically as one human being, but coming from different geographic locations, that changes your mindset, how you engage with other people. And then you have an open mind, like, oh, I have my brother from Africa, I have my sister, I have my uncle, I have my aunt. You are learning everything. And learning, when you learn from that cultural perspective, you learn, you grow, you evolve, and you make an impact. You can adapt to any environment with ease. That's how I see life, and that's how I see culture.
Wow, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. We have a comment here from Dr. Ifedakwa Rosemary Olajide saying, well said, mentoring it's not about creating a mini version of yourself. It is
Yes.
about leading from behind, providing skills that empower your mentee and helping them to build confidence. And she also said, mentees need to have a plan, a framework for what goals they want to achieve. I think that's very important.
Yes.
And we also have distinguished Toastmaster Pauline also joining us and supporting here. And we're just happy that we have some people joining us today. All right, so now that we've been able to establish that culture is very important, and it's very important to know that we should open our mind to the conversation that is around mentoring.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I also read in your book that was very important is the act of finding balance between guiding mentees and allowing mentees to learn from their own experiences.
Yes.
It seems that seems to be a balance, providing guidance to somebody and preventing them from making some errors, versus saying, well, you might want to try this and let's see what you learn from that. And do you
Yeah.
have any stories around that? Would you, how have you been able to maneuver that balance?
Okay. I think for me, like I said, greatness and Tulu, we are all born to be great and should all aspire to be great in our area of gifting, so that we can serve the world with that in that space. So that greatness is not achieved in isolation. In isolation, it is forged in relationships, nurtured by purpose, and sustained through mentorship. So in this finding the balance, currently I have two mentors. As I'm building, I'm building my business in terms of the consulting space. So I have 22 years in public administration, from operations to governance, and research as well, and international relations. And I felt that now I needed just to broaden my space and have an international experience and global perspective. So how I have been guided through these mentorships, and this was not my first mentorship. I had other mentorships, but I felt like this mentorship is not aligned with what I wanted. So the frameworks is very, very important, because I need to know what is it that I want. I'm investing my time. We occupied with many other things. So when somebody invests your time, you need to get your mind. Time is the greatest currency that you need to use wisely. So for me, it was having those frameworks. I've shared some of the frameworks and nuggets, as we're saying. Have a framework with your mentor, so that the mentor can guide you. Because if you don't have that kind of framework, you don't define what you want for yourself. And that goes generally. Other people will define it for you. Other people will tell you how to live your life, what to do, what's in your best interest. But if you take the time to understand, who am I? Who is Sindile? What is it that I want to achieve with my life? How do I master this person as an individual? And then you are going to surround yourself with the right people, because they say you can judge a person by the company they keep. In a sense that you need to find yourself, always associate yourself with a company that will help to refine your gift, your talent, and help you navigate to become the best version of yourself. So I have my story right now is the mentor that I have. It's Richard and Katrina. Those are my two mentors from the SCORE mentor. SCORE in the USA, there's a SCORE program that have different professional mentors, which is very, very good. And I recommend it to other people as well. So I've got two mentors there. Rich has run his business, a multinational company, and he has succeeded a lot. He's now in his retirement stage. And he's sharing that knowledge as a business person from the finance side, because I want my business to succeed. I need to understand what the financial management, the financial literacy, how to navigate and connect with professionals in that space and bring value to my business. So those are the kind of mentors that say, this is what I wanted Rich to help me with. It is a continuing, ongoing journey. He gives me on his side as well. Cindy, I'm giving you these tools. Do this framework and this framework. We meet monthly. And then I have to report in between if there are challenges in terms of saying, I don't understand how to navigate this challenge. He is there by the side. So he's giving me the tools. I'm working on the tools. I research. I put all my knowledge there. He's giving me the business plan. He's giving me the financial projections. He's giving me tools of how to market this, how to strategically find the right people, how to scale your business. So those are the things that I say. So you need to find yourself, know first. And I'm glad that some of the listeners are also confirming this as well in terms of the frameworks, defining what you want, set goals for yourself, and the mentors can only add on that. If you don't know what it's like life. Life for me is more like when you also are a pilot. You need to have a flight plan, because if you don't have a flight plan, you are like there in not knowing where to go. So you need to have, this is my destination, and these are the people who can enrich my life along the journey. So I have learned that even in the corporate space, for succession planning is also important to say, how will I mentor other people to succeed me, my legacy, hence my philanthropy, make sure that we pass on this knowledge to the next generation as well.
Wow. Thank you so much. You just mentioned philanthropy. That's an organization that you have. But
Yeah.
so now, let's look at in a bigger view of organizations, how organizations should take mentorship seriously. And my question around this is, how can an organization identify high potential so that mentoring can start early, so that they can mentor the right individuals, they can pour in the resources that they
Yes.
need to pour in good time so that they can get a return. What is your advice around this?
Okay, my advice, I will advise it through the case study that I shared on my book, the Steve Jobs and Mark Zuckerberg mentorship story. You know, this was a story wherein, like my is it was a story where two people who have a vision and greatness in their different spaces, but in the technological space. So it was important that they had to focus to say, what is it that we want to make an impact on in the technological space? So this journey, it was when now Steve Jobs mentored Mark Zuckerberg. And Mark Zuckerberg has credited Steve Jobs in terms of saying, he has advised me in my formative years of Facebook, teaching me the importance of focus, the value of building a strong and a lasting culture, and also reinforcing the belief in innovation, leadership, and reminding him the importance of fostering young talent. So this should be a culture that in the corporate sector we should embrace. Corporate sector, any leader in the corporate sector, from middle entry level manager, middle level to senior manager, you need to and cultivate that culture of talent management. Everybody, you have a pool of people who are talented, and when you identify that pool of talent management, then you have like performance management, not only in terms of what you expect them to be in their managing them in terms of what they are currently doing, but then in terms of preparing them for the next level of management. So through guided performance management, personal development plans, and give them exposure on the job skills development. Have somebody to shadowing them. It's called job shadowing. Find people who can job shadow them already in the next senior level, and then take them also to formal training programs as well, because they need to navigate the corporate space, and also you elevate your leadership through that purpose of taking them to formal education, training programs, workshops, but also doing the job shadowing. It's very, very important, because companies that are not doing the job shadowing sometimes find that when the CEO has to retire, when the senior manager has to retire, there's a problem. You can't find talent from within, but you have invested so much in your own people, but only to bring in other external people to help drive this company forward. And then that shows that there's something wrong. What happens to the pool of talented people internally? What have you not been intentional to preparing them to the next level of management and leadership and impact, and taking this company, beyond your time when you exit that institution? So it's that kind of thing. You have a talent, manage your talent. You have a talent management strategy, and identify through performance development plans. Identify skills, formal skills that you can take your employees through formal education programs, and also soft skills. Have managers who are already there in the field to mentor, to shadow, do job shadowing. And through that, you are building a very strong kind of culture of loyalty, commitment. Employees are motivated, they are performing highly because they feel themselves being part of the culture and the organization, not only short term, but they see themselves literally growing within the rank long term as well.
Wow, wow. Thank you for sharing that. That's very powerful. Giving examples and explaining. If you're just joining, we're talking about Passing the Touch Mentorship by my guest, Sindi Mazibuko. We have a question from one of our guests, Dr. Ifedakwa Rosemary Alajide. She's asking, how can you provide an example, or can you provide an example of a framework that you have crafted for yourself? Now that we've said frameworks are very important in terms of communication between the mentors and the mentee. So can you provide an example of a framework that you have crafted for yourself?
Yes, thank you. I think one of the things that and also from us, that the culture that has shaped me from growing up, and now I've shared with my book as well, and our other educators and listeners and parents, we need to cultivate in our children critical thinking mindset, because that critical thinking mindset, it enables adaptability. So the framework that I've developed is a critical thinking model that I've also shared in my book as well. Basically, we are sharpening your mind in terms of helping our children to be better leaders. And the best leader, how do you know that you're a best leader? Your decision making, you have to be enhanced of enhanced decision making. So the critical thinking model that I have shared in my book, it is like a step by step that I have used in my life, and that's what my dad, when I was growing up as a businessman, he sharpened me that you must always use your mind, use your brain. Whatever problem that you have in the world, the solutions are within you. Find them, and through knowledge, through books, through calling to the right network. So you have to define the problem. So critical thinking model, basically it says, okay, this is the problem that I'm facing. Sure, there is a solution to the problem. How do I make the best decision with the available information? So firstly, define the problem. Clearly articulate the issue at hand. Number two, gather information. Data is one of the most important, because as a leader, you need to make evidence-based decisions, data-driven decisions. That is very, very important, because data, it gives you the insight into the problem, not just hypothetical thinking, but now it's supported by data. So collecting that data is very important. Number three, analyze. When you analyze that data, you minimize assumptions, because sometimes as a leader, there's lots of assumptions out there, but we cannot make, as a leader, an influential leader, to make decisions on the basis of assumptions. So when you gather data, you have to analyze that data. What are the beliefs, underlying beliefs, assumptions, and what are the real facts and evidence? And then the first step that I've shared is say, identify the alternatives. Have a team. Then you brainstorm with your team. What are the possible solutions or approaches in line with us? We have defined the problem. It's very clear. We have gathered the information. The second step, now that you have this data, what are the insights that you are gathering here? So you analyze it by making questions. You formulate your questions. And also you say now to the team, because no man is an island. That's what I said all the time. All organizations operate within teams, and really you need to make use of your team, and you need to ignite that critical thinking in your team that you are leading as well. So even if as a leader you have the solution, don't always impose the solution. Allow your team to brainstorm, because ultimately as a leader, you are the one who will make that decision, and your decision will be based on the solutions that have been provided. Solution 1, 2, and 3. So identify all alternatives, the best way in a corporate culture, even in the family as well. Brainstorm solutions or approaches. And then the fourth one, now as a leader, you say, okay, now that I have all the information, I have all these options. You evaluate your options. You assess what are the pros and cons of each alternative, because to ultimately, whatever decision you make, there is a consequence that will come with it. So if the benefits outweigh the risk, there is a risk inherent in any decision that we take. But now it's a matter of balancing. What are the pros versus the risk? So basically, as a leader, you take the decisions that has more opportunities and process for success with minimized risk. So that's where you evaluate your options. Option 1, I see this, but what are the risks? The risk is higher. No, that's not the one. Option 2, I see it, but the risk is maybe at a lower level. So then I can take the middle solution, because I'm also, as a leader, you have to weigh the risk as well with every decision you take. And then the last one, then make that decision. Stage 6, make a decision. Choose the best solution based on data analysis, evidence, research, and ultimately you have to follow your instinct, because internally know what is the final decision into that. And then once you have taken that decision, you communicate that decision. And then lastly, you observe after you've taken the decision. So, okay, you reflect on the outcome. Have I made a decision, the right decision? Based on evaluating the results, what are the lessons learned? What has worked? What has not learned? What has not worked? What could be done differently? That reflection is very, very important in any company, because sometimes I feel companies, they also plan and really execute plans, but there's also little time to reflect as well. So we need to reflect, even as individuals, in everything that we do. We need to spend more time reflecting on your decisions, because sometimes you might see yourself, no, why this didn't happen? You tend to blame other people. Reflect on the outcome, because you made that decision, and ultimately people advise, but you made that decision. Whatever consequences that comes, if it's good outcome, yes, it's good. You continue to celebrate. If it's not so much a good outcome, out of all this critical thinking theory and the stages that you have employed, if it wasn't a good outcome, reflect. What has worked? What has not worked? What could I do differently? And that it helps to sharpen your critical thinking and your decision-making skills, so that when you make future decisions are also more better informed as well. So this is very important, that as a mentor, your biggest impact with the mentees is to make sure they have that structured framework that you can use as a mentor to guide your mentees in developing their critical thinking skills. helping them to make impact also in their space as well. So, and this is not something that you can just learn from textbook. This is something that you have to learn from experience, and also you learn also from reflecting also on that experience as well. So you need to ask, ultimately you need to ask yourself, what evidence has supported this conclusion? What will happen if you tried a different approach? If you choose this path, what might be the long term and short term effects? So that framework for me, it has really guided me. And I've learned from my father. I said, use your mind, use your mind. Don't let other people think for you, decide for you. Use your mind and have all the information, but ultimately the decision lies with you. You must own that decision ultimately. Thank
Good,
you.
good. Thank you so much. Thank you. That's a very detailed answer you gave us, and guest is saying thank you for sharing that. It's a very clear one. One of the things that I've found very interesting about mentorship, at least that I've heard over the years, is that mentorship, it's a two-way street.
Okay.
That means that the mentors also have something to gain from the interaction. And also in your book here, you mention the idea around reverse mentorship.
Yeah.
Reverse mentorship. That seems to be something that I've never heard in that way before, but it seems that it's the same idea. So, what would you share with us around reverse mentorship? Is it something that is common for mentors to want to be mentored by a mentee? Or is this something that it's still slowly developing?
Okay. I think it's always been there, but sometimes maybe it's been downplayed or not being maybe given much attention to it. But basically, reverse mentorship, Tulu, it's more around the issues of reflective practice. Let me put it like this. While mentees often receive the spotlight in terms of receiving the information from the mentor and the mentor also guiding them, this is a dual transformative journey. Not only does the mentor get to impart their knowledge to the mentee, but the mentee as well. But the mentor goes to learn a lot from their interaction with the mentee. So this is like this act of guiding is and inspiring the mentee. The mentor also gets to be guided and inspired as well in a manner that we both reflect on our path. Because if I share with you on this chain, I share my path, I draw my experiences and lessons learned. But you, as well as a young person, like for example, young people, they are more techno savvy than the older generation. So how is this a dual process? It is a dual process in a way that you, as a mentor, you allow the mentee as well to share their knowledge in their and wisdom and skills. So it's a reflective process. You reconnect with one another in terms of core values, what motivates the mentor, what motivates the mentee. So this reverse mentorship is a place of saying, how do we reflect both of us as the mentor and the mentee? And that fosters a deeper self-awareness, helping mentees and mentors also to identify biases, because everyone were biased. There's inherent biases that we're born with. So how do we break those barriers of reflecting on our biases, and how do we improve going forward? By the time the mentor comes out of this mentorship experience, I have also been enriched. I've learned so much about culture, about young people, their way of doing things, their thought process, and where they feel misunderstood. So as a leader, I get to develop now a 360-degree perspective in terms of leadership, because I've interacted with those who are younger than me, but they've also interacted with me as well. So it bridges the gap between the young and old generation. But we all discuss a place where we can all reflect on our values and breaking those barriers of inherent biases, but helping each other to become more self-aware of our biases and also learning of our strengths and weaknesses. And we help by that improving as well. So it is a journey of self-improvement in both ways.
Wow, wow. That's why mentorship, it's a two-way street. Thank you for sharing that. I hope people that are mentors are also willingly and open-minded to learn something, because there's always something to learn from another person. In your book, I saw there Silver Arm Hewlett said in a book, forget
Yes.
mentor, find a sponsor. That is
Yes.
contrasting mentorship and sponsorship. All right. Do you have anything you want to share on that? What's the difference between mentorship and sponsorship?
Okay. So I think what I can say to in that space is that mentorship, it evolves all the time and it takes different forms and different wordings as well. But the issue of mentorship and sponsorship, so the mentorship, they give you the tools to saying this is how you can navigate life, this is where you want to be, this is where I can help you. By the time you conclude your mentorship, then that chapter has closed. Now the issue of sponsorship is, for me, in my take, like currently also with my philanthropy as well, I have found patrons now to say, okay, not only do we believe in you, because a mentor, when you get your blueprint in terms of that intended outcome, then it's like it concludes the relationship, then you go there into the world and influence the world with the tools that you're being given. But in terms of sponsorship, you find somebody say, okay, I've already acquired the knowledge, the skills, and I continue to evolve the space of mentorship, but now I need people who can partner with me on this journey. So we have patrons who can say, okay, this is now we can, whether financial or non-financial, sponsor you in terms of realizing your dream, depending on what dream that you have. So those are the people now who are willing to invest beyond just sharing their skills, but they invest to see your dream come to life. So that's where we draw the distinction, because a mentor might do their part and then they give the framework and then the tools. They say, okay, we have done this journey and we will continue to be there to support on the side. But a sponsor there is somebody who takes you beyond the mentorship and now seeing your dream, realize that I want to be your patron in your vision. I want to sponsor in a financial way, in a non-financial way. I want to take you and expose to my network as well, so that they open the doors beyond just mentorship. So that's where I draw the clear distinction.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. So sponsorship is a little bit ahead. It's a
Yes,
step ahead mentorship. But
absolutely.
mentorship is a good place to start.
Yes.
If we want to talk about what happens in the real world, politics. I know people have different ideas about politics. People try to stay away from politics. And the fact that we can't really stay away from it, we just saw what is going on now. We can't, because the things that our politicians do impact us. And I have a popular musician from Nigeria that said that politics is everywhere, even in family. The way you deal with your children, the way you deal with your wife, the way with your siblings, it's all about politics. It's a little bit favoritism, politics, a balance of it. There's this word, father, godfatherism,
Mm-hmm.
godfatherism that is very popular in politics. And I can't but compare the word godfatherism with mentorship.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, how does mentorship in leadership compare with godfatherism in politics?
Okay. I think, how can I put it? I think maybe to simply put it, there is no politics. It's part of us, like you said, at home, in our communities, and global. And politics, I think, if you can view it, politics as a part of us, because even when in the political, in terms of the government, the established government that is there to render services to the communities, that government, remember, there is a process wherein everybody gets to vote. So they say, Mahatma Gandhi also said, you should not look at politics in a way that you look at the government. What is government doing for you? But the whole point is that, what are you doing to make government governable? So change is being brought when everybody see their roles in the communities, and change is it's brought in a way everybody saying, okay, when the government is not doing what I expected, then you also are able to hold government accountable, because it is government of the people, for the people, by the people. So there's no separation of politics, like in this politics, I don't want to be involved. You are involved. And even when you don't vote, you're already involved, because government is there to provide services. So you are the recipient of services, one or another. So politics is very, very important, that we should always be aware of what is happening in our communities and what we can do to make a difference. Because the funds that they are there to provide services, whether for healthcare, for education, for social security, for development, for environment, everything, those are part of improving our communities. So what I can do is, it's very, very important that everybody, we don't live from a place of ignorance. Be aware from your community. What are the community needs? Everybody must make a difference. Why we can make a difference? They say a journey to 1,000 miles begins with one step. Make a difference in your own community. What is it right now in your community that is your pain point that you, with your knowledge, with your skills, with your network, you can mobilize to bring about change? And by
Wow.
doing that, you can make you make the world a better place, starting from your community, from local, and then you can influence through other platforms and networks. But making the world a better place, I think that's all we should all be striving for. And this was not only about us. To my thinking now, also with my philanthropy, is that how do you leave this world better for the next generation to come, 50 years, 100 years to come? What we can do, what is it that we can do today to make this world a better place for people today, future generation, and the planet? That should be our thinking and conversation that we have, from families to academia to politicians, any space that we can occupy and influence.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. You also mentioned something now, leaving the world a better place than when you came. One of the person from South Africa that did that is Nelson Mandela. I mean, it's gonna be very inappropriate to talk to a South African without asking question about Nelson Mandela. So, being a native of South Africa, what comes to your mind when you remember Nelson Mandela?
I think, okay, Nelson Mandela, he was part leader of a very powerful organization. So what he did, he just said, Rainbow Nation. We are a rainbow nation. There's one humanity. We are a rainbow nation. Different colors, one people. And we should embrace each other like this. We are brothers and sisters and cousins and neighbors. That's it. The borders are just man-made, but it's one world. It's a beautiful world. So the greatest good that we can do for one another is not just to share the riches in terms of wealth, but it's also to share our knowledge, our culture, and to reveal to other people that we are one. And if you can embrace the world from that place of oneness, Ubuntu, we are one humanity. I am because you are, because we are. There is strength in unity. We are a rainbow nation. Let's see each other from that islands, and the world will be such a better place. Literally, we'll be loving each other, embracing each other, our cultures, our diversities. There's beauty in that, and that's what makes this world so beautiful. So he said that, and he has crafted the Rainbow Nation agenda. We've always tried. We are diverse. There'll be conflicts. There'll be differences, but the whole point, you should always say, we are one humanity. Let's embrace our humanity. Let's remove and challenge ourselves every day from our inherent biases. Let's remove inequalities that are there with confidence, and let's explore unconventional solutions and make sure that we make this world a better place. And every day ask yourself, what is it that Sindile, I am doing in my part, in my community, to make the world a better place? And if you can think like that, we can truly, it could be just a most beautiful awakening of our authentic self, empowering others to find their paths, embrace them, and build a legacy, literally a generational legacy that will outlive us all.
Wow, wow. Thank you so much. My last question, I see that the time is fast spent. Last question, how was it growing up in South Africa, and do you want to share any of your transition story from South Africa to America with us?
Yes, I think for me it was always my transition story was more around also the issue, the legacy of Rainbow Nation, saying there is no limit to what you can do, what you can be, and what you can become. And there's many challenges that we face in our lives, and there's many failures and setbacks, and there's situations that you need to overcome. It's part of our journey. But what I've realized is that don't give up, be resilient, be courageous, and there's always people who are there to hold you by the hand, to guide you, on your path journey, to support you. You need to always reach out when you feel like you are facing certain challenges in your life. You're like, I'm ready to overcome. I don't know how can you do what I'm doing. Gender bias is real. Racism are some of the challenges that are always there, because we are always like our different races. There are inherent biases that we have to do there. And women are facing certain challenges in Africa. You have to always navigate a space where you have to fight for your voice, fight for shining your light, and fighting for your rights. Those are realities. But we're saying the world, what it is today, it is a world that is far better than what it was then. So we can continue shining the light. And this book, that is what I'm trying to say, to share with all the players and everyone's listening. in life, there will always be the highlights, there will always be failures. And failure is simply the opportunity to begin again. And this time we do it more intelligently with the right kind of people. Belong to a community, share your journey, share your story. There's always somebody there who's willing to pass their torch on you. So if you do that, the world can be such a better place. And in ending, I just attended a United Nations event. We are celebrating the Beijing Declaration of Women Empowerment, Emancipation, Equality. So people who've gone before us, they've always acknowledged that we need to live in a world that is non-judgmental, is equal, is fair, and embracing. It is a journey, but we need to always do our part to raise those awareness and really, really see each other as just human. I'm just human.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, our viewers. Thank you, Sindi Mazibuko. Please like, comment, share, subscribe to our YouTube channel so that we can expand our views, and get in touch with my guest book, Passing the Torch Mentorship. And how can our viewers contact you? How can they stay in touch with you?
Oh, okay. I'm grateful. I'm available on LinkedIn. We'll share the LinkedIn platform, and also my books available on Amazon. So and also they can send me an email as well. I'm Sindile consulting@gmail.com. So we'll share this information, but I am actively on LinkedIn. I also have a think tank a page on LinkedIn as well. And I also have, like, now recently having a website, and also I'm available on email as well. So I'm willing to connect with the audience. Let's keep this conversation going. Let's pass our torch. Everybody has a light to shine to the next generation, and let's continue to pass our torch and make this world a better place. Thank you so much.
Good. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. I really appreciate it, Sindi Mazibuko. Really appreciate your knowledge, your experiences, and until we'll have time to chat again. And bye. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, and to the listeners. Bye.